Hi everybody, this is Nick Vogelsang coming to you live from the Equitable Building on Friday, October 9th, 2018. A beautiful Friday, as you can see behind me in the city of Chicago. Today we're doing the Ask a Lawyer segment for Vogelsang Law, but first to start off I'd like to talk about a night of 1,000 Noogies at Park West on Saturday. It was a great crowd, really fun time raising money for Gilda's Club. Foley Mansfield was out there, saw a bunch of their crew, and it was great to see a lot of Chicagoans from the community gathering together and raising some good money. So always a nice event, and look forward to being out there next year. So today we're going to be talking about a couple of questions that are often asked of me and for some of the attorneys that work here, and that is, what happens if you get a diagnosis of mesothelioma but you really don't know about your exposure to asbestos or where that could have come from? And while most of our clients are quite familiar with their exposures, we have a lot of pipe fitters and sheet metal workers who say, yeah, I used to cut that, or I used to rip it off, I was around a lot of asbestos. We definitely have a certain percentage of clients who come to us and say, well, my doctor told me I have this disease and they said it's from asbestos, but I don't know what I could have been around. So each case is different, and we walk through each person's work history carefully and sit down with them and try to go through each stage of their life and each stage of their career and see what they could have been around. And a lot of times it's very telling. And for instance, we had one of our lovely clients from many years ago. She had no idea, but when we walked through it, it turned out she worked at an automotive plant, and some of the paper that she sanded contained a lot of asbestos in it. We knew that from other cases that we had litigated, and the whole case ended up revolving around her exposure to this particular asbestos paper that, without her coming in or at least giving us a chance to walk through it, she would have never known that she had a case and that she was actually heavily exposed to asbestos. So just not being familiar with whether or not you were around asbestos or how you could have been exposed doesn't mean that you don't have a case. It just means that we might have to dig a little harder. Now, I'm not saying that every case of mesothelioma is something that we can file or bring as a lawsuit, but certainly it's worth doing the investigation. Another question that stems from that is, how long does one of these lawsuits take? Will I be locked into litigation for years and years? Because many of us, when we hear about lawsuits, you also hear that it can take 5 years or 10 years. And luckily in Cook County, that's not the case at all. Cook County in Chicago has always been great about getting expedited trial dates. It's also called a rocket docket. So if you're diagnosed with mesothelioma, you go to a firm like ours, we sign you up, we do the investigation, we file a complaint, and when we go in front of the judge, we say, Your Honor, we have a case of a person living with mesothelioma, and we can get a trial date in as quick as 9 months from the date we ask for it. So we've gotten cases many times through the entire system in less than a year. Now, the only difference is sometimes if we have a client who is deceased, so we have a widow come to us and say, my husband died so quickly we didn't have time to deal with this, but now we're being told that there's a potential case here. So in that situation, we of course have to do additional investigation because we don't have the person who had the disease come to us, and we don't have that chance to have an interaction with them and try to figure out where they were exposed. But we go find coworkers, and we can get a trial date in 1 year from the date we ask for it. So it's either 9 months or a year. Now, of course, there can be times where the case gets continued, or we need more time to do further investigation because it's not a normal case. But we try to really get through every case we have in a year, maybe a little bit more, maybe a little bit less, depending on it, because we understand that there's a lot of other things you're dealing with in life, and especially if you're dealing with mesothelioma, got several medical appointments, maybe 1 or 2 every week, potential surgery, and of course you want to spend time with your family. You don't want your life to be about litigation and meeting with lawyers, and we're certainly cognizant of that and always try to make sure that we stay out of the way and don't interfere. So those are the 2 things that we wanted to answer today and ask a lawyer from VL, and I hope I did that. This weekend we're looking forward to a run at Soldier Field. It's called Making Strides Against Breast Cancer. It's going to be at Soldier Field at 10 a.m. So hopefully we'll see some of you out there. Should be really fun. And if you check, there's a cancer wellness site that my wife does. She's running a magazine called Cancer Wellness. It's fantastic, and she actually organizes on the calendar online all the different cancer events going on in Chicago to raise money. So check it out. It's called cancerwellness.com. Free plug for my wife, of course. But anyway, have a great weekend, everybody, and thanks for watching.